The rest of the story. Austria, 1844, Vienna General Hospital. Something's killing the mothers on Maternity Ward 1. Just Maternity Ward 1. In each case, following a successful childbirth, the mother would dehydrate, develop blue-violet spots all over her body, and die. For lack of a better term, the doctors were calling it puerperal fever. The truth is, nobody knew what it was. And whatever it was snuffing the lives of 1 in 5. And yet, while the physicians on Ward 1 played tag with the Grim Reaper, one young doctor tracked him down. Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis, fledgling obstetrician, assigned to the 1st Maternity Division of Vienna General Hospital. The mothers in Ward 1 were dying, 1 in 5, and young Dr. Semmelweis was determined to discover why. Because over on Ward 2, where midwives performed the examinations and deliveries, the mortality rate was not exceptional. But it was just on Ward 1, where the physicians were, that the mysterious plague was also. Dr. Semmelweis drew comparisons. He noted that the women on Ward 2 were placed on their sides during labor. He requested that the practice be followed on Ward 1. The mothers continued to die. Then he observed a certain priest making the rounds through the 1st Division, his major occupation to administer last rites. Was it possible the priest was literally scaring the women to death? Dr. Semmelweis removed him from the ward. The mothers continued to die. At last, the young physician took a shot in the dark. All known variables between wards 1 and 2 had been examined and dismissed, except for the most obvious difference of all, the midwives and the doctors. And somehow Dr. Semmelweis reasoned he and his colleagues, the ward physicians themselves, were unwittingly poisoning their patients. Dr. Semmelweis proposed a remedy. The remedy was successful. Whereas 1 in 5 mothers had been dying in the 1st Maternity Division, the mortality rate now dropped to 1 in 100. And yet, despite this most conclusive evidence that Dr. Semmelweis was right, his colleagues turned on him. His diagnosis was unsound, they said. His remedy was fanciful, they said. They ridiculed him. They antagonized him. They even got him fired from his post at Vienna General Hospital. Discontinuing the effective procedure Dr. Semmelweis had originated, these physicians watched the mortality rate ascend once more, and still they rejected his theory. In fact, Dr. Semmelweis lived with rejection all of the rest of his life. In his treatises, he declared that the murder must stop. His writings, however, were largely ignored. The bitterness ate away at the brilliant brain until his mind itself was lost, and he died in an asylum August 13, 1865, at the age of 47. It was such a simple procedure that Dr. Semmelweis espoused. A remedy he had proved effective. And yet his colleagues cast him and his theory aside, accused him of, and eventually drove him to madness. 3 decades before anyone imagined that a doctor could transmit death from one patient to another, 3 decades before Louis Pasteur named the real assassins as bacteria, the procedure Dr. Semmelweis had proposed, the ritual his colleagues found so repugnant, was washing their hands. And now you know the rest of the story.